Okay, hello everyone. So for this part of the wrap-up session, we'd like to provide you with an overview of the HCA Bionet project, and in particular highlight some of the resources and tools that have been developed by HCA Bionet, which might be useful to you now and in the future. So to just give you an overview of what is the HCA Bionet project. So it was initially a plan to develop a sustainable bioinformatics network on the continent. And initially, the project was aimed at supporting the various different requirements and needs of the Asia Africa projects. So the idea was that the Asia Africa projects would be generating different types of bioinformatics data, and the bioinformatics network would be developed to support the analysis of that data and allow the data to be analyzed on the continent. So if you have a look at the map, the pink dots just give you an indication of the distribution of the nodes across the continent. And these nodes varied in their level of bioinformatics expertise at the beginning of the project. So we had fully fledged nodes, we had developing nodes, and we had affiliated nodes. And obviously over the duration of the project, some of these nodes have changed and developed more capacity in terms of what they're able to do in terms of bioinformatics analysis. So in total, we had about 32 partners and nodes across 14 different countries. So what I want to do now is just give you an overview of what HCA Bionet has done. This isn't a full list of what's been done, but just to highlight some of the major achievements. So in terms of infrastructure and capacity development, Bionet has been able to install servers at most of the nodes. I think all of the nodes have a server installed, and together with these servers being installed, we've done some training to allow system administrators to set up these servers and install various different programs required for bioinformatics analysis. We've also installed eBioKits at some of the nodes, and we're in the process of installing them at the remaining nodes now. So the eBioKit is a training resource. So essentially, it's a little Mac Mini together with an external hard drive, and this contains various different tools that you can use for running different types of bioinformatics analyses, and it's also portable, so you can take it around to run training workshops as well. There's a lot of work that's been put into ensuring connectivity between nodes, so that nodes are connected and that those nodes are connected continuously, and requirements for transferring data. We've also developed a bioinformatics helpdesk, which I'll speak about a bit more later on. We've set up protocols to ensure that we can transfer large amounts of data between nodes, and also from across different from areas in the US and in Europe to nodes in Africa. There's also been solutions for data storage. We've done some training in IT and data management, so this is to ensure that people are efficiently trained to manage the servers and to manage data transfer between the different nodes. And then there's been various tools and resource developments. So as I mentioned before, initially the project was aimed at supporting the Asia Africa projects, or the network is aimed at supporting the Asia Africa projects, so that actually determined the main focus areas of data analysis. So this drove the type of training we did and the type of resources that were developed. So the main focus areas for data analysis was on targeted sequencing, pathogen sequencing, microbiome, 16S, RR90 sequencing, exome sequencing, whole genome sequencing, and genotyping arrays. So in terms of data analysis, there were various different types of data analyses I spoke about in the last slide, drove the type of data analysis pipelines that were developed. So initially what was developed was a set of standard operating procedures for running these different types of data analyses. And this then led to a requirement that we felt that in addition to the SOPs, we needed to develop these pipelines and develop them in a portable way such that you could download these pipelines and run them on your local computing infrastructure. So this led to the development of a training event, which was a hackathon, which was held in Pretoria I think it was last year. And what the hackathon was aimed at was to develop these various different pipelines for running with different types of data analysis, and then to package them in these Docker containers, which essentially allows them to be portable. And these Docker containers will then be available for anyone to download to do these analyses. So this work is still being wrapped up at the moment, and there's a paper in progress that will come out soon. But you can find the associated SOPs together with some practice data sets all on the HA Bionet website. So I'll give you an idea of the different SOPs that are available. So we have SOPs for NGS variant calling, genome-wide association studies, 16S rRNA diversity analyses. We also have some further SOPs that are under development but are already up on the website for RNA-seq and variant annotation and prioritization. So essentially, we have these SOPs, which are just documents documenting each step required in the analysis pipeline. But now, in addition to that, we're also going to have the pipelines that have been developed in these Docker containers, which will also be available for people to download and then run the analysis. So these are very useful resource if you are running any one of these different types of bioinformatics analyses. And then in addition to that, we also have some guidelines on the website as well on setting up a server and general system administration. So if you are running any of these analyses, I'd suggest that you do have a look at the SOPs and then keep a lookout for the Docker containers containing the pipelines for these various types of analyses. So I think in terms of the Docker containers, we've done it for NGS variant calling, for genome-wide association studies, for 16S rRNA diversity analysis, and then we've done one for imputation, and I think there might be one more, which escapes me at the moment. Okay, so I said I was going to come back to the HCA Bionet help desk. So this was a resource that was set up actually a couple of years ago, quite a few years ago. And we essentially wanted to set up a way in which people could submit questions or queries in order for us to try and help both Asia Africa and non-Asia Africa projects with any sort of bioinformatics questions or analyses that they were running. So at the moment, the resource is open. So it's actually a resource that can be used by anyone. And I'm sure people have used other online forums like Seek Answers, etc. So this is a very similar type of setup. So in order to use it, all you need to do is actually register an account and then submit your query. So at the back end, there's about 15 individuals with various different types of expertise who are part of HCA Bionet, will then be assigned the question and hopefully get an answer back to you. So I would encourage everyone to use this resource, especially if you start doing any type of data analyses. I would suggest that you also look for answers online first, and then if you do get stuck, use this resource to try and get an answer to your question. And we want to encourage people to make more use of this resource, as it's a good way to get answers to questions when you do get stuck and you don't have anyone around who has the expertise. So in terms of training, so this has been also another big area of bioinformatics, of HCA Bionet. So obviously, in addition to this IBT course, which is also part of our training, we've hosted several workshops on a range of different bioinformatics topics. So we have a list of our workshops available on the Bionet website as well. We are in the process of updating and reorganizing this resource and also linking all the training material to the actual workshops. So you can have a look at it now, but hopefully that'll be updated in the next couple of months and be a much more organized and well set out resource. And then we're also linking all the training material or training courses to something called the Genomics Catalog. So this leads me on to the next slide. This was an initiative that was developed between HCA Bionet and the Asia Africa projects. And essentially, it's a catalog cataloging different genomics resources. So essentially, it's a search portal that allows you to search for journals, books, lecture, webinar series, MOOCs, software, or databases, all linked obviously to genomics. And the interesting thing or the cool thing about this is that we actually put in the resources, so the resources are added manually, and then with the process of review. So we try and review each of the resources to tell you, okay, well, is this a good quality resource to use? So what we're going to do is also link all our training material into the eGenomics catalog, so you'll be able to search for the different types of training material, different types of courses on the eGenomics catalog. So I would suggest that you have a look at the eGenomics catalog. I actually haven't put up the link here. We'll just put up the link somewhere where everyone can access it. When you're looking for any, an online course or some material or a particular set of software to do a particular type of data analysis, have a look at the eGenomics catalog first before you run to Google to see if you can find something interesting on there. And then also everything on the eGenomics catalog is sort of organized by a particular ontology. So we use the EDAM ontology to organize everything. So you're able to use particular search terms to find relevant courses. Okay, and then I just want to briefly talk about some of the other projects. So a big project that HCA Bionet has been involved in is the development of a new African genotyping array. So I'm sure some of you are aware of it. So this is now going to be an African-centric genotyping array, which many of the HCA Africa projects are going to be using in their actual data analysis for their projects. So this array has been developed based on over 3,500 whole genome high coverage sequences. And at the moment, it is in the process of being manufactured and produced by Illumina. So this is a very exciting project. Lots of hard work has gone into it. So we will now have a African-centric genotyping array that we can use for various different types of projects or asking different types of questions. There's also been a development of a participant recruitment database. This is essentially to collect data on participants for the different HCA Africa projects. There's also been the development of an HCA Africa data archive. So this is for storage of data that's been produced in the interim before it's submitted to the public databases like EGA. We also run a regular seminar series in Journal Club, so I would suggest that you have a look at the website, but then in particular, to stay updated, I'm sure all of you are on Facebook, join the HCA Bionet Facebook page, and the announcements will go out there regularly for our seminar series and our Journal Club, which is online. And I would encourage all of you to try and join in those wherever possible. We've also developed workshop proposals. So if you or your institute is planning on running a workshop and would like some sort of support in terms of either getting over trainers or support in developing a training material or any kind of support with running a workshop, there is a workshop proposal document that you can find on the course on the HCA Bionet website as well. You can fill that out and submit it, and it'll be reviewed, and we'll get back to you. I did mention internships here, but as I mentioned before, the project has come to an end now, the first round of the project. So I'm not sure if the internships will still continue, but there is an internship program as well through HCA Bionet, which is, if I remember correctly, only open to HCA Bionet and HCA Africa people. Associated people. So, but that again, the information is on the website as well. So, I would also say suggest that everyone has a look at the website. We are in the process again of revamping that website, so hopefully it'll be revamped soon. And look at the information that's available on there. Like I said, I've only touched on some of the projects, but there are various other resources that have been developed by HCA Bionet. And I would suggest that you have a look at the website to find those. So with that, I'd like to conclude, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the wrap-up session today.